kicking back on this summer breeze. Welcome to Double K's Classroom. Class is officially in session.
The following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
All right. Hey, y'all. What's up? Welcome to the finally beginning to be put together and finally done episode of Double K's Classroom number 100. That's right. I've been on the air for 100 episodes. Maybe not necessarily 100 every other weeks or 100 weeks, but this will be my 100th episode since what? I think I brought out Double K's Classroom in 2013, I want to say, is when I dropped the first episode.
Around 2012.
Yeah.
We kicked it up. No, 2013, because right after West Coast Bias,
is when I kicked it up. Yeah. And that's when we started Raw Impact Unleashed. Yeah. So just so y'all know, I'm sitting here conversating with, during this first segment, my main man, my homie from another brother, from another mother, the man that helped me start all of this with West Coast Bias and brought us to where we are now with the YouTube and the Twitch and everything else. The one and only Saint. What's up, my brother?
Man, what's up, man? Just chilling, man. Just a happy 100 shows. We've been doing this for a long time through hell and hot water, but we've gotten through that.
You look at it, shoot. Cheap Pop, which is a fairly new show, is already at episode 60 something. Yeah, Cheap Pop's been going that long.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. But here how we do in the classroom, we like to break down them sports from that West Coast point of view. That's West Coast Bias. It's sports from Double K's point of view. Let's see. Look, man. First, let's give a little shout out. I got to give my props because I'll be honest. I was one of them people that was hating on Team USA when we lost the exhibition matches and then we lost to Slovenia. And I was just like, man, maybe this ain't their year. We're going to get that bronze. We didn't even have all of our top guys.
Well, now check this out, because you got to figure, there's a few dubs or former dubs on this squad. Yeah. So I can't get mad, KD, JaVale,
Draymond,
Draymond, and so forth. So it's like, I'm with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm with it. Another goal,
another goal.
Award, but dubs. Past and present, and you can't hate.
Oh man, no shit. Well, I would be loving to say if we had re-signed KD, we would probably be saying Dubs as NBA champions, but unfortunately we got to give our props to the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis, who did what he do and made it do what it do.
Listen, I was really, really surprised. And I just really couldn't fathom with the Phoenix Suns. And I mean, the East
Hey,
is won a title. Giannis is, I mean, he's a beast.
yeah.
I mean, you got to give him his props. So, I can't complain. Not a one.
A 50-point game 6 to close out that series was nope and joke as far as I'm concerned. And trust me, he was doing it against some people that are not slackers at all. If you watch that Phoenix team at all this year, they were damn good, and they earned their way into that finals. I don't care what anybody says about, oh, they would have lost to the Lakers, blah, 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 blah.
You know what?
Man, nah.
I'm going to tell you, and I'm definitely going to tell you that Chris Paul was absolutely amazing. And, he's just bringing that element, that feel good element, that fundamental basketball, basketball, and, just the basketball elements, you know what I'm saying? Still.
Well, let me say it like this. Chris Paul gives you something that every championship basketball team needs: a steady hand at the point guard position. And when you have that, it helps shape the rest of your team, because when the point guard is going to come up, he's going to do what point guards do. It's just like with Steph Curry. We know Steph's the point, and he's going to get his assist. But we also know that when it comes time for that big shot to be made, we know Steph's taking it, and we know Steph's taking it without a second thought. Same thing with Clay. That's why they're two of the best shooters in the game. So Chris Paul gave them that stability that led them all the way to the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, it couldn't guide them to an NBA title. This was just Giannis's year. Now, let's jump on them Warriors. We'll start with the NBA draft. They unfortunately went 0-2 in the play-in tournament and did not make the actual playoffs. They were just that close to being the 8 seed against Memphis, and just didn't have enough gas. Steph just didn't have enough left in the tank to get us there. But this year, they're returning with Klay Thompson, who should be back, they said, at least by December, so he'll miss the first couple of months. They went out and signed let's start with the draft. They went out and drafted 2 wings, because they let Kelly Oubre's gone. I think he went to the Hornets. So Kelly Oubre's gone. But they got Wiseman in year 2. They got Draymond. They got Wiggins in his second full year as a Warrior. He had a pretty good season last year.
And Iguodala.
Hold on, I'm gonna get to him. I'm gonna get to him. You got Clay at the 2 potentially, and you got Steph coming in at the 1, and then like you said, you got Iggy. You got Belica, who I like. He's a big who can space the floor and shoot threes. You still got Looney on board, because remember, Looney just signed a 3-year extension contract last year. So you still got Looney, you still got
Toscano,
Wiseman.
right? And I know
Juan Toscano-Anderson just signed a 3-year deal last year too.
Now I'm gonna tell you about this kid, about this young man. Okay. This guy, and I'm a true believer in this guy here, Toscano, and I believe he really has played some fundamental basketball. He's doing his. I mean, and he's doing his thing, and I'm really looking forward to what the Warriors can bring to the table. Now I understand the Lakers are stacked. Let's face it.
It's not going to be easy road.
Yeah, the Lakers are definitely stacked. However, though, we have a team, we still have, a young enough team that can push the boundaries. Draymond and Clay, and of course Steph. Steph is like 33, Draymond's 31. And as far as I'm concerned, he is still playing some of his best basketball ever.
Yep. Amen.
He is playing some of his best basketball ever. And you just can't, it can't be denied. It just can't be denied. Period.
And here's the deal. Look, last year when the Warriors brought in Kelly Oubre and they traded for him, believe they traded a second round pick away for him to Oklahoma City after Oklahoma City had traded for him but didn't want him. When they brought in Kelly Oubre, what they were hoping that he was going to be is they were hoping that he would be Iguodala too. And skills-wise, he came close because he did average, like, I want to say, like 15 points a game. He was pretty good on defense. Like, he was a great guy coming off the bench. But I think where they misnomered with him is that he wanted too much money. He thought too much of himself. And he wanted too much money. He wanted that 25 million that the Warriors just didn't have, or he ended up settling for 12 million a year from Charlotte because it's 2-year, $25 million deal. So, the kid bet on himself. Good for him, but the Warriors weren't looking to pay somebody that much. They get Iguodala back they get the actual Iguodala back on the veteran minimum, and they bring him in to help develop the two kids that I've been trying to talk about ever since we opened this segment, which is the two kids that they drafted in the first round of this draft. Jonathan Kuminga, who's a small forward / power forward. They said in long term he could be in the mold of Giannis. And Moses Moody, I think his name is, from Arkansas or from Alabama.
Yeah, Moses. That's right, Moody. Didn't really get in. On the stats wise, but he was a pretty good, solid player.
Yeah.
For Arkansas.
Arkansas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But both of them, Kuminga and Moody are both 18 and 19. Jonathan Wiseman is only 20, like 2021. So like they have a core that can grow to become the next big dub stars as Steph retires, as Clay retires, as Draymond retires. You've got these cats that can literally come in and take over and have that fire and keep the Dubs relevant and keep the Dubs good for years to come. Let's talk a little bit about that front office with Bob Myers and Joe Lacob and what they've done with this. Me and you are longtime Warriors fans, both of us. Well into the full. You remember the full damn near 40-year drought before they won a title. And for me, I remember the last about 38 years of it before they finally won a title. So we remember those struggles.
Yeah, the last time that in the championship, that was Rick Barry. That was Phil Smith. These guys. Sometimes I can't remember right off the head, but this was a great solid team. Jamal Wilkes, one of my favorite all-time Golden State Warrior. That's one of the reasons why I hate the Lakers, but that's past that.
All right, so one last subject before we drop this out, and I get to the next segment. Steph looks like he's gonna keep his promise and be a Warrior for life. Just signed a 4-year extension that the final year, I was telling Suave the other day, the final year of this contract will pay him $59.4 million. And I think Steph is worth every dollar.
Yeah, you know what? This is one of the things that that we really talked about. Now I know that going back to LeBron, and I'm sorry that I have to mention that, but I mean he kind of whispered, they had mock pictures of Curry and the Lakers and stuff like that, and I was like, hey, get the hell up out of here, bro. Like there's just It's just no way. He is going to retire a Golden State Warrior. There hasn't been, just that one. Not one, not two teams, not three teams. He is going to play for one team for his entire career. And I guarantee you, man, that he is going to definitely, well, of course, he's going to retire, a Hall of Famer. And of course, he's going to retire his number.
Yeah.
Go figure.
And who figure. Who knew when that little scrawny boy out of Davidson was drafted in 2011 that young man would be everything that he has been, everything that he has become.
And you think about it, but I'm going to tell, and I'm going to say this much. I don't care how many, how many people have gathered, have, picked up the tools to carry on to this organization. And I guarantee you, it's still one name resonates for the Golden State Warriors. And I'm trying to tell you now, the only kingmaker that can make it is still the one and only Jerry West. And I promise you, because when Jerry West came on to this Warriors organization, they knew it was going to change. He's a kingmaker. He's always a winner, no matter how many teams
or what he does
have conducted themselves with this organization, bro. I can't complain. And within 3 to 4 years, boom, 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 boom. Here comes 2012, 2013. Then all of a sudden, it's just like rolling down the dominoes, man. And, it was a solid dynasty, not dynasty, but dynasty. But I'm looking, like I said, I'm looking forward to this, to the future of this organization. Yeah. I believe that we do have I have a new hashtag that says "We the Driven." And the only reason, and the reason why I tell you what that means is because we're driving back into the playoffs. We are driving back into that element. And the simple fact is, man, is that, yeah, I know the Warriors are scared. I know the Lakers are scared. I know the other teams. And I still believe that they have a healthy fear because they have that number one and that number two in the Splash Brothers. And then on top of that, Draymond, he's still a beast, knocking players out. And maybe, and I know that Iggy is coming off the bench anyway, so it's like
it's all good. Yep.
It's all good. Yep. Definitely it's all good. Sure. And it's definitely worth it.
Amen. Amen. To be a Warriors fan today is definitely a beautiful thing. All right, so we'll wrap it up there. Saint, I want to thank you for joining me for this segment, bros. When we come back from this break, I'm going to have Suave on. We're going to talk some football, and y'all know that's going to be good. You're listening to Double K's Classroom, episode 100, right here on Four Aces Presents Radio Network.
I definitely appreciate it, man.
No problem. No problem. Check out Saint on Now Versus Then, Sundays, 8 p.m. All right. Let's stop recording. All right. You are listening to Double K's Classroom right here on the Four Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
So,
What's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast, spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
All right, y'all, and we're back with part 2 now of Double K Classroom episode 100, and I am back with my man, my road dog of the past 20-something years. Yeah, we that old, y'all. We that old. What's up, Mr. Suave?
What up, Double K?
What up? So yeah, man. So like we did this last segment before with Saint and talking about the Warriors. So Suave and me have a long history when it comes to fantasy sports. We done been in a couple of fantasy baseball leagues together. I think we even did one fantasy basketball one year. And then we've been in our boy Scotty P's fantasy football league for the past few years. Suave here has actually had the honor of holding the belt. I have yet to get my win in. Yeah, once.
I've been robbed twice, but I won it one time.
Oh man, I'm just trying to get to the game. I'm trying to get to the championship game. If I can get there, I know that the next step is winning one. So first, I got to get there. Yeah, we'll see what we do this year. We're gonna talk a little fantasy football. First of all, let's start off with the funnier side of fantasy football. Let's talk about some of the worst picks that we've seen made. I'll let you kick us off. Seen made or made ourselves. Why don't you go in there and throw a couple out there for us, Suave?
All right. Well, I'll start with my own instead of throwing anybody else under the bus. My dumb ass took Jared McKinnon. Okay, so let me foreshadow this. So I arrived to the draft having not turned on my phone at all. I had all my draft info, everything already done, like early in the morning. So I hadn't touched it, hadn't seen it. So when we get to the draft, we're about halfway through it. I'm like, ain't nobody took Jared McKinnon for the Niners, and this is supposed to be his year. He's going to be the starter. Little did I know that he had just torn his ACL that morning, and I didn't get the notification until not only after I had made the pick, but like a couple hours after that, the ESPN notification hit my phone, and I just like flipped the bird at my phone. You feel me? I was mad. Like, you couldn't have done this 4 hours ago. You feel me? I was hot, shit. And everybody was laughing. And you didn't hear the news? I was like, what news? Jared McKinnon, he's done for the year. I was just like, and y'all let me make the pick? Of course you did. You feel me?
All's good in love and war, brother.
Watch your brother just jump on a live grenade. You go ahead, Donaldson. You go ahead.
Well, say, for me, I have to say, it was like this. My worst pick could have went either way. It's a 50-50 pick. I took Jimmy Garoppolo last year in the draft as my starting quarterback, as one of my starting quarterbacks. I believe Russell Wilson was my other one. So I got real lucky with that I was able to clean it up by having Russ to back him up. But Jimmy was supposed to be my starter. And yeah, about 3 weeks in, that went all to hell. And then even when he came back, he played for like half a game and it was done for the rest of the year. So it was like, dude, you like, and don't ask me why, like when he first got hurt, they was like, hey dude, like, yeah, he gonna be back in like 5 weeks. I was like, oh dude, I'm just gonna throw him on the IR and take somebody else and keep, Jimmy only saw the field for about a half for the rest of the damn season. And so that pick, and then the year before that, I had taken Tevin Coleman because Jerick McKinnon had gotten hurt. So I figured Coleman was going to get, and he just didn't produce the way he should have. He didn't produce the way he produced in that Shanahan offense in Atlanta. He didn't produce fantasy wise the way he did then. So like, it wasn't a win-win situation for me. I've learned not to take Derek Carr anymore. Love him to death, but
I've both learned that one the hard way. Yes.
Now let's switch this flip the switch since we got a little bit of extra time. What are some of the best draft? What was one of the best draft picks you ever got? Or maybe like somebody that nobody really saw coming but ended up blowing the doors off for you.
Usually I hit pretty good with my rookies. If I remember right, I think that I had who the heck did I have? I've taken a long shot on a couple of rookies. I want to say when I won the title, who the heck was it? It might have been somebody like Dalvin Cook or one of the young stud running backs that nobody was really high on yet because they were rookies. And I'm all about trying to jump on that young talent that's going to get run early and hoping that, you can get better value in the mid rounds to the late rounds. And, you get a guy that's going to be worthy of a first round selection. But it was one of those type of guys. I got one. Last year it was Alvin Kamara. I had him all season. He was damn good for me all year, even when Drew Brees went down. But yeah, I usually end up going for those long shot rookies. Matter of fact, the year before I had CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, and it was basically a coin flip, and Lamb ended up having the better statistical season. So he was in my lineup more often than not, and I was hoping for a breakout. Jeudy had a couple games. I want to say he had about 3 games where he scored, close to 20 points. But other than that, he was, single digits, barely 10 points a game. Their quarterback situation has been up and down, but it was easier before Dak got hurt with CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he was just chucking up numbers. So yeah, in recent memory, I'd say CeeDee Lamb was a good pick. Jeudy was kind of a toss up. And then before that, I always go for those rookies that are in prime skill position players, because usually they're going to produce, especially if they're on a team that needs their talent.
For sure. Like I would say for me, it was Brandon Ayuk last year. Was a solid pickup. I just had a feeling he was going to end up having a good season. And I want to say I had Debo the year before. It may not have been in Scotty P's league, but I want to say in one of my leagues I had Debo, and he blew up for me his rookie year. And so those were two kind of like under the radar guys that I went out and got. But really, at the hardest position to really pick at quarterback, like I said, I got lucky last year when Jimmy went down. Russ Wilson blew the fuck up. I'm talking about, I want to say there was a stretch of 4 or 5 games where that fool had 40 points a game for me as a quarterback. And it was just like, and Seattle was in shootouts all the damn time. And it was just, wow, man. Like he blew up for me. But all right. So let's get to this year. We going into the fantasy. We got a fantasy draft here in about 3 weeks. Ourselves, no strategies. No, we don't talk no strategies. We ain't giving away none of that. We don't want people taking the people we want. But we'll just kind of go. We'll start with the defenses and then kind of go position by position. What defense do you think is gonna make some noise that maybe nobody's talking about right now?
Well, I mean, I guess you got to go with the hometown squad. The Niners coming off a rough season full of injuries. I mean, you got to figure with the depth that they've added, and I still worry about their secondary, but the front seven should be pretty damn good. And if we've learned anything watching football all these years, is that if you have a dominant front seven, it really doesn't matter, how average your defensive backfield is. They can be covered for because the quarterback doesn't have enough time to throw the ball. So I would say the Niners might be a little overlooked. I mean, anybody that's a Niners fan is going to be hot for them because they'll understand. But, most layman or non-Niner fans will be like, waiting to see if they are able to make that comeback. But I'm okay with jumping on that ship and saying that they should be better than they were last year. And maybe not as close as they were during that Super Bowl run, but fairly close enough.
Yeah, I can see that with a lot of the additions. I said I'm hyped to watch that game tonight. We'll see what happens with it. With as far as their defense, you know that now they have four former Raiders. They just signed another ex-Raider defensive lineman on top of Arden Key and Maurice Hurston on them boys. But for me, I'm here to say Washington, the Washington football team with Chase Young and them boys, I think is a team that's gonna put up. They were damn good last year. I think statistically they were top 10 in the league last year. Even though their record didn't really show it because they really didn't have no stability at quarterback. God rest his soul, Dwayne Haskins. It ain't your fault, bro. I don't think he was set up for success there. So maybe he's set up for success as the predecessor to Big Ben in Pittsburgh. We'll see though. But yeah, I think Washington's defense is going to be one that's going to surprise some people this year. Definitely. All right, so we all know that Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes are probably going to be 1 and 2 as far as quarterbacks, fantasy quarterbacks. At least that's what a lot of people think as of now. We'll see how that plays out later on. Who do you think would be number 3?
I mean, you got to go Aaron Rodgers until further notice. I mean, the guy had an MVP season last year, played damn good. You know, he's coming in. I mean, it's kind of interesting. A guy who just won the MVP is going to come into the league or come back into playing with another chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, I expect him to put up monster numbers, and I do like the addition of them getting his old guy Randall Cobb back into the fold, as well as Devontae Adams. So, and they still had the young running back that looks real good. I'm still concerned about their offensive line, so health is going to be a factor. But we saw the same thing happen last year. He had an MVP season, regardless of what was happening around him. So, I think Aaron Rodgers is I want to say the clear number 3. There, he might have some challengers, but I think there might be 2 or 3 other quarterbacks that could have great seasons. And I know that depending on the type of league that you play in, quarterback is a little devalued. But I think Aaron Rodgers is the clear-cut number 3 in my book.
I would give it a toss-up between A-Rod and Lamar Jackson. I still think Lamar Jackson has it in him to be able to put up those like 280 with like 90 yards on the ground and like 3 passing touchdown games in him.
He let me down last year. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Like I said, this is just, to me, it's a toss-up because like I could see either or being there. A sneak pick for me as far as quarterbacks would be Josh Allen. I think people underestimate exactly what that boy can do. But we'll move forward and talk a little bit about, is there a running back out there that you expect to surprise us this year?
I mean, in my opinion, there's not gonna be too many surprises. I think Dalvin Cook is one. I think that 2 is gonna be Derrick Henry. Those guys will probably go, 1 and 2 in the Alvin Kamara is probably going to have a good opportunity to be in the top 3, top 5 of the running back picks, only because he's now missing Drew Brees. And you got to see how they're going to, use him, how teams are going to stack the box against him. Can he still be effective without a top flight quarterback behind him, helping him keep the defense honest? I think Josh Jacobs is going to have another great season. 1,200 yards isn't out of the question with almost, 8 to 10 touchdowns. I mean, the only person that I would have, the breakout guy for me, and I hate to say this before the draft because I was planning on drafting him, but the kid for the Steelers that just got drafted from
Najee.
Najee Harris.
Yeah.
I think he's going to step right into that role. He's going to end up with, 11, 12, 1,300 yards, 10 to 12 touchdowns, just like James Conner did when he stepped into that role. He's a guy I'm gunning for early. I plan on taking Harris as soon as I can because I think he's going to be a stud. And then you got an offense that's, predicated on running and that ground and pound type deal with Ben Roethlisberger trying to chuck the ball around. I think he's in a prime position to be one of the better running backs or have one of the better running back seasons this coming season.
Now, for me, and this will have to close us out. We're down to our last about 45 seconds here. I want to say it would be, and mark my words on this, depending on how long Jeff Wilson Jr. is out for the 49ers, look for a young man by the name of Trey Sermon out of Ohio State, who was Oklahoma, out of Ohio State via Oklahoma. He actually had a 300-yard game for the Ohio State Buckeyes last college football season. But with Jeff Wilson Jr. is out, there's a lot of reps that young man is going to be getting. And there's a reason why the 49ers traded up in the third round to take him. So I'm saying keep an eye on him. I don't know if I'm going to draft him. I don't know if I'll bet my fantasy season on him, but expect him to put up some numbers this season.
If they get the same injuries, he could end up their starter and he could have a fantastic season. I mean, he'd be a late round selection, no doubt, maybe last pick in the draft type deal. But yeah, if injuries hit, that'd be somebody you definitely want to be holding on to because he's going to be a waiver wire, phenom.
Yep. And Shanahan is known for having a multi-back system. A lot of people always remember that. Shanahan is not one of those guys that uses the same back 3 downs every time. So Sermon's going to get his touches. But all right, so that's going to wrap us up. Suave, thank you for joining me on this special occasion. 100 episodes of this crazy ass show that started out as nothing more than an opinion segment on West Coast Bias like 5 years ago or 5-6 years
maybe longer.
Maybe longer, but from back in the days of doing this as a podcast to now doing it over Zoom on YouTube and Spreaker and everywhere else, this man has been with me for pretty much the entire ride. So him and Duel. So thank you for joining me, brother. Thank you for being here.
Congratulations on the hundo, bro.
For sure. Now to do it for us this week, or for right now, we'll come back after the break with another segment with Alpha from Cheap Pop Podcast joining me specifically to talk some 49ers football. Thanks for watching here on Double K's Classroom. You are listening to Double K's Classroom right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Game ticket, $50. Hot dog, $8. Team store item, $25.
I told him I can beat him with one hand tied behind my back, with some glasses on, with one eyelens out, with some flip-flops on in the rain.
Having to listen to someone's dumb sports opinions? Worthless. Some people shouldn't talk sports. For everyone else, there's the Unspoken Podcast, available on most podcasting platforms, and on the web at the unsportspodcast.weebly.com.
And we're back for part 3 of part 1 of part 17 of the 19th day of the 22nd year. Now, we're here for the next part of my 3-part set for Double K's Classroom, episode 100. And this time I'm here with the one and only Alpha from Cheap Pop Podcast, my brother from another mother, my lighter brother. Making one of his first appearances on Double K's Classroom. So welcome, Alpha.
Yes, I'm so happy to be doing this. And first and foremost, I just want to say congrats to my boy, my brother, the man who put me on, the Dr. Dre to my fucking Slim Shady, my brother. Congrats on the 100th episode. And I'm real glad to be a part of this 4 Aces compendium of football fuckery. I'm so down for this. I'm down.
Oh, yeah. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what just happens to be both of our favorite teams. I've been a fan a whole lot longer, but that's only because I'm old.
Veteran Niners fan here.
For sure. Like, I suffered through some bad years, but so have you recently. And we're back to, shit. The past 2 seasons, oh my God.
We got our dicks kicked in for
Yep.
2 seasons in a fucking row, and we're just starting to really look like we might float for a second, you know.
Now don't get me wrong. Both years, I don't blame on Shanahan at all. Like his quarterbacks got hurt.
Shanahan.
Like, what the fuck were you gonna do with Nick fucking Mullins? Like,
literally though, like even if he was in full form, it's like, is that the one we're blaming the fall of our team on? Like, no, that wasn't gonna carry your ass. That's no Kaepernick, son.
Oh man, but he was. I'll say this: it was only on Shanahan's head because he was Shanahan's pick, and Shanahan kind of had a thing for him.
That is
Jimmy
true.
Was just better.
That is true.
Now this year, Shanahan had a thing for a kid, and it cost us 2 future first-round draft picks and a second-round pick to trade up and get Trey Lance. Now,
yeah, the build-up to Trey Lance was something else too. I will say the build-up to bagging Trey Lance, for what it's worth, was some hype shit. I don't know how I feel, and I still don't know. I didn't know how I felt then. I still don't know how I feel. But like, it is another one of those dives that he's taken.
I'll tell you this. After watching this first preseason game, I'll tell you one thing I do feel: good for the future of this franchise. Here's the deal. They brought in Trey Lance. Everybody and their mama, Jimmy G's gonna be traded. Jimmy G's gonna be traded.
Fucking literally.
Where's Jimmy G going? And guess what? My boy Shanahan and Lynch said RELAX. Relax, y'all. Jimmy's staying right the fuck here.
He said, motherfucker, stay in San Fran, boy. No.
Now that doesn't mean that next year Jimmy will still be a Niner, but for this year, thanks to both Lynch and Shanahan, they knew he was. Now, what it does is puts us in a position that we haven't been in for the past 2 years. Puts us in the position of having a competent backup to Jimmy should he get hurt.
God, you're right. You're right.
Somebody that we know can come in. He may make some mistakes because he's a rookie, but he can come in. He can run the offense, and he can actually be more of a threat than what Jimmy is. Kind of reminds me, if you really want to compare it to anybody, it's more like Montana and Young, and Smith and Kaepernick than anything else, than any other comparison you want to make across the NFL. That's what it's like, because what you have is a guy who can run the hell out the offense, and you definitely can win with him.
Yeah, you have one guy who is an absolute fucking runner.
Exactly.
No shit, yeah.
And has the legs.
And then you have a backup of someone who's a little bit more green.
Yeah. And so like, I think this is definitely Jimmy's last few years or year as a 49er. But I think that when the keys are handed over to this young man, Lance, the car will be in good hands.
That was the plan all along too. Like, the thing is, they said from the very beginning that was the plan with Trey Lance. That very beginning, like he said, he knew it was a dive taking Trey Lance, being the fact that he's so green, he's such a rookie. But he said that he wanted to stick him with a professional, have him ride with the professional for a minute. And after that is all done, then Trey Lance is going to be the one on top at that point. He's going to be the focal point.
Now think about this when you're thinking about the 49ers future. And this is why I say they got bright future. Think about this. You got Trey Lance, who's only 22 this year. Okay. You've got George Kittle, who's on the second year of his mega deal. So that means he's only in his 6th year in the league.
I was going to say, he's back for a minute. He's back for a fat fucking minute.
So he's still really young. Like, I want to say Kittle hasn't even hit 30 yet. Like, he's 28,
no, he's
29.
Not at all.
Or 27, 28, somewhere around there.
He's not in his fucking 30s, though. I know that for sure.
No, he's not. Then you got Deebo Samuel, who's only in his 3rd year. He's still on his rookie deal. You got Brandon Ayuk, who's only in his 2nd year. He's still on his rookie deal. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Raheem Mostert, who's a beast. And like I told,
fucking beast, yeah, no,
and like I've told everybody and their mama, keep an eye out for Trey Sermon.
Really?
Trey Sermon is about to be a beast, and the only reason why I tell you to keep your eyes on him right now is because of this. The kid
makes you say that. Elaborate.
The kid, Jeff Wilson Jr. is currently on the PUP list, which means he won't be backing up. He won't be backing up Raheem Morris. Or Raheem Mostert. which
Okay.
means Trey Sermon most likely will. Because remember, between
You're
Trey
right.
Sermon and Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon is the one that they traded up in the third round to get. They traded away two
I
picks.
was going to say
two of
they're
their
more
third round
likely
picks.
to put Sermon in that position because they
So-
picked him way more.
way more
fucking Sermon.
about it. Exactly. So
They
so with
value
that
him
being-
much higher. Yeah.
With that being said, I tell people, like I just told people in the last part with the fantasy owners, Trey Sermon might be a decent pickup. Not necessarily in the first round.
That's not a
but
bad
in the
prediction.
late rounds.
That's not a bad
know,
prediction. You know that? Hold on to that. Hold on to that.
So no, really,
I like that.
But like Trey Sermon is one to watch out for. But you look at it like this: even if Mozart, who I believe is 31, even if he was to move on next year, they got Sermon, they got Mitchell.
We got a lot of rookies to fall back on right now.
This team is young.
You're
Even
right.
across the offensive line, this team is
You're right.
young.
I hadn't even
McGlinchey
seen that.
is
At
only
this
in his
point,
sixth year.
we have people that we're holding them for like the next like 4 or 5 years at this point.
Yep.
Save for like 1 or 2 people. You're right.
You flip it over to the defense. Kinlaw, rookie deal. Bosa, rookie deal. Fucking D Ford, monster contract that he just signed a couple of years ago, but he's young. Fred Warner, who just signed his monster contract, he's only like 25. Dre Greenlaw, who's only like 24. Like, they've got some young studs across all facets of this team. This future, future is bright for this team. But the thing that makes it even more wonderful is that they could win right now. With what they have,
honestly, with this
right
repertoire that we have right now with this team, yeah. Walking into this season, seeing the team put together, I did have some fucking hope. Before we even got into pregame, I was very fucking hopeful about this lineup.
And I'll say it like this: the way they battled on Saturday in their first preseason game, considering like a lot. Kinlaw didn't start. Bosa didn't start. Ford didn't start. Warner didn't start. Like these were pretty much all the only really starters that came in were on the offensive side of the ball. And Jimmy only played like one series. Like it was a 3 and out. Like, or no, they got like 2 first downs and then 3 and out. And Jimmy was done for the day. And then Trey Lance came in,
called it fucking home.
Hit the special team specialist Trent Sherfield with an 80-yard touchdown pass that was reminiscent of playing Madden and just seeing that dude open.
That's funny though, thinking of like fucking Madden flying over the screen and the dude in position going back.
Full disclosure, I drafted Trey Lance and Justin Fields when I played this Madden when I opened up with this draft class. Yes, I ended up.
That's hella funny.
Moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo for an extra first-round draft pick and drafted Trey Lance and Justin Fields, but I drafted Justin Fields much higher. So I started Fields.
Really?
I ended up trading away.
That's pretty ironic still that your number 2 would be our number 1 running, right?
Exactly.
That's pretty fucking slick.
And so he ended up I ended up keeping him pretty much damn near his entire career, like 8 years. I think I signed him to another contract as a backup, and then all of a sudden he wanted like $24 million a year, and so I got rid of him. I traded him away for another first-round draft pick. But he came back to haunt me multiple times. He made the Chicago Bears meet me in the fucking NFC Championship game like 6 years in a row. Like he haunts me.
He made you regret that shit. He made you regret that shit. He haunts you in your fucking pigskin dreams. That's fucking great.
And so like the guy was just, I'm glad to see him in a Niners uniform. He's gonna be monster. This team is deep.
I'm still, I was pretty unsure about it, and I still kind of am, but I think you're right. Looking at the lineup, not even focusing on him, but as a whole, the lineup is really fucking clean, and this is the cleanest that it's looked in probably the last 4-6 years or so, right?
Amen. Like, well, okay. What I'm saying is that the depth that we have on the defensive side of the ball reminds me of
we have potential.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The year that we got to the Super Bowl, that's what I'm reminded of in terms of the team we have right now.
Because they're saying D Ford is healthy again, and the last time D Ford was healthy, along with Nick Bosa, we went to the Super Bowl. Like it's just that simple.
You're right. Though.
Like
if we make it to Super Bowl and you call that shit from this point on, though, I'll fucking scream. Please manifest that shit.
Manifest destiny, baby. Like here's the thing. I'm one of those dudes that I'm like, Nick Bosa, y'all pick y'all poison. Because one of them motherfuckers about to get to your ass. Pick your fucking poison.
Shit though.
Like, oh no, that's what it was. Is that one of my homeboys was talking about y'all need to watch out for the Rams. I'm like, shit. Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Joe Montana, Tom Brady. It don't matter who the fuck your quarterback is. That front line about to eat your ass for lunch.
No, that is an offensive line to fuck your shit up good. We have a line that we can push right now, and I'm really with that shit.
And so at the end of the day, it's something that I can't wait to see fall out, especially in a 17-game season, which is what they have coming up this year. Any thoughts on that right quick?
17-game season is something I'm really interested in, that, especially coming off of the back of the last few seasons and everything going on with COVID. It's a really fucking interesting move, but honestly, dude, I'm not going to look you in the eyes and say that I don't like it. Like, for me, it's like I have to fudge a few more numbers. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I get to do a little bit more math because there's more shit that I need to be putting into a play here. But
hey,
there's more shit for me to process. I don't care. Like, fine.
I think that it was something that for me made things a little bit more interesting. It takes away one preseason game. I'm good with that. Preseason really doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, it's not really much of a. It's a test the waters kind of thing. First impressions, not really factor it in, right?
Right. And so I'll say, but yeah, I think that is going.
I do.
Go ahead.
I do. Well, as I do final thought, as we do have small rumblings of Delta variants and mask policies being affected by that, I am curious to see if that's going to have any effect on that as well.
Because at this point they're saying that they're planning on having full capacity at Levi.
They've confirmed that, and that's why I do say that, because they have confirmed that they're going to be having full capacity again.
Yeah.
So I am interested in the flow that this is how we're going to go with that.
I think you will be required to mask up. Some people may not like this, but you may even be required to show proof of vaccination or proof of a negative COVID test within 72 hours of the game.
Yep.
Like
for what it's
worth. That's the world we live in. As Peter Gabriel would say.
Like if you good.
No, I was gonna say Peter Gabriel. I was gonna sing that song. This is the world we live in.
Oh fuck! You hella lagged for me right there, so I thought I lost connection. I was gonna scream. You're hella fucking funny.
Oh man!
All right, no, you're right though. Yeah. All right.
Be safe out there, folks. Yeah, that's gonna put the cap on it. We're down to our last 20 seconds, so thank you, sir, for joining me here. I'll say, y'all check out the Cheap Pop podcast. It'll be on Sunday, Monday, and I believe this week we'll be talking wrestling. Wrestling with SummerSlam actually coming up right around the corner too, huh? This weekend,
so
huh?
Getting a lot of content together. We're going to be rolling on a lot of content soon.
All right.
So yeah, thank you for having me for the show. Thank you for having me for this little compendium of shit. I loved it. Check me out on the Cheap Pop podcast and watch us talk about some shit sometime. Peace,
for
my
sure.
people.
Peace.